All the people at the very top, above the Trumps, above the Elons, okay, those people straight up talk with demons. They work with demons. You would quantify them as schizophrenic if you met them.
The world keeps lying, but he won't retreat on his quest for truth. Yeah. Truth, quest for truth. They can't stop me, they can't block me. Moving through, got that fire, they can't block me. Quest for truth, breaking chains, making waves. That's what I do. When they hate, I create.
Welcome to the broadcast today. I have Brian Demon Eraser joining us. Brian, welcome to the broadcast, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here and talk about some weird and crazy stuff that almost always gets people angry on the internet.
Well, that's what we're good at. So tell my audience what they should know about you before we get started.
Yeah, so my name is Brian, and I cast demons out, and I'm what people might call a deliverance minister, but I hate that name because it sounds like I'm delivering pizzas or babies, and that just is really weird sounding. But basically, I'm an exorcist. So like I'm a Christian exorcist, a not Catholic one. I'm very much not for the Catholicism form of exorcism. That is a bunch of trash, and my personal opinion. But it's very interesting sort of experience. I offend a lot of people. Sorry if I've already offended people. But I just try to speak the truth and tell people what's going on in the world and talk about magic and witchcraft and the occult and what's really out there. And talk also about a lot about Nephilim. I studied Nephilim my whole life, which is kind of what got me into this, is seeing like shadow people and demons in my room when I was a child, and dealing with sleep paralysis, and which is the beginning stages of like astral projection and all kinds of crazy sort of supernatural stuff, I guess. But yeah, now I just, listen to the Lord Jesus, help cast out demons and heal people and pray for people. It's kind of
Awesome,
a
man.
short introduction, I think.
Very cool. I know that a lot of people, when they hear the term exorcist, they automatically think Catholic, and it's important to decipher that, I think, because from my understanding anyway, the Catholic exorcism is a complete different set of rituals that take place in order to exorcise a demon out of people, whereas the biblical way is something different. How do you differentiate the two processes?
Yeah, so Catholicism form of exorcism is akin to witchcraft. It is actually a form of witchcraft, basically, and it's not based on the authority of Christ whatsoever. It's based on of relics and rules and methods and this sacred rite and like authorities that's been passed down with traditions. It's all just a bunch of man-made bull crap, literally bull crap, from Baal. Okay, like straight up, it is straight witchcraft. And it's not what Jesus did. Let's just put it that way. It ain't what Jesus did, and it ain't the authority of Christ. Jesus says, if I cast out demons with the finger of God, you know that the kingdom of heaven is upon you. Old time exorcism, a lot of it was demonic payment. And so there was a payment exchange because the demons require blood, or they require sacrifice, or they require payment of some kind. And so what older time exorcists would do is they would, the demon was on a person. In the Book of Tobit, there's an example, and he had to like give it some fish guts from a gull of a fish to try to get the demon to be grossed out to leave. It's kind of silly. But a lot of demons, like the response is, you give it this blood, you give it an egg, you crack a slitted chicken's throat, pour blood on somebody. That's like voodoo, the sort of Haitian sort of stuff that they still do today. And like, in Mexico and all over the place, the magic form of it, but it's a demonic payment method and an exchange method with demons. And that's what a lot of early exorcism was before Jesus showed up. And when Jesus showed up, he was just like, out, we're done here. The authority of Christ out now. And so that's kind of what I do. I do what Jesus does as a Christian. And as a Christian, it says, these signs will follow those who believe. It says, in my name, they will drive out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will lay their hands on their sick people and they will recover. So this is the authority of Christ that I walk in. And it's not what people think. People think it's like, McDonald's and you go to the line and put your hands on somebody and they just get healed. It doesn't really work like that. It's very complicated. There's a lot of parts to it. You have to, Jesus says, I can only do what I see the Father doing. And unfortunately, a lot of this sort of authority of casting out demons with the authority of Christ in the name of Jesus, this kind of stuff is like mostly like there's so much of it's been forgotten. People just don't understand it. They don't understand how it works, what it works. Like there's been a big deception in our world today because there's like so much going on. I mean, we're in Satan's little season. Personally, I talk about this quite often, which is why there was a big deception and a bunch of information has been lost. But that in comparison to, Catholic exorcism compared to the authority of Christ is like night and day. Like, like I go around and like when I help heal people, it's not like I'm just, it says Paul, seeing that they had faith, he then went and healed them. When you understand how healing works and you understand how exorcism works in the New Testament, a lot of times it has to come down to the person's faith and the person's understanding. And so as a deliverance minister or an exorcist, we have to be able to hear what the Lord is guiding us to and be sensitive to the Spirit in order to walk people through the knowledge of healing. It's not like Jesus went around and was like, pow, 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 healed, 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 pow, 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 healed, 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 pow, pow, pow. Like it wasn't like he was doing that. He was teaching and he was giving revelation and understanding. And as the people got the revelation and understanding, it was like, oh my gosh. And then the light bulb clicked on. And then Jesus was like, okay, now watch this. Be healed in the name of Jesus. Boom. Like that's like how Jesus was healing. It was like through the truth, and the truth will set you free. They will know the truth and the truth will set you free. Do you see what I'm saying? So like healing and deliverance doesn't happen by some magic spell word or, oh, I said Jesus's name and it's going to be a magic spell. Like that's not how it works. Like when you cast demons out, you have to understand the authority of Jesus, the authority of Christ. You have to understand the reason why we have this authority. And it is, it's something that I'm going to be teaching more people how to do this on my channel, actually on Demon Racers on my YouTube channel. I just started a series helping people to understand this, but it's literally walking people through forgiveness. Like Jesus probably went around and like looked at people and then he saw that they were hurting or broken. And then he was like, this, and said things that were so prophetically profound to that person's life. They're like, oh my gosh, the light bulb clicked on. And he was like, now you want to see that what I said is true? Give me your broken arm. Watch this. And touched them. And boom, they got healed. Like that's how you're supposed to do it. But people don't know how healing is supposed to happen. People don't know how the authority of Christ casting out demons is supposed to work. They have no clue. They've forgotten this. It basically went extinct for about 1,000 years. I think it just ceased to exist. And, this is what we're doing now. And there's people coming up now that are doing these kind of things. And like, there's like a miracle wave of people that are casting out demons and like healing people is like, it's like happening everywhere right now in California, in the United States. It's just like this wave of deliverance people that understand this authority of Christ. And it's pretty amazing actually what's happening right now. It's crazy. Anyway, so yeah, it's very different than Catholicism, which is like special water and special relic and nonsense, dude. That's stupid. It's just an Catholicism exorcism is an evolution of old time exorcism, which is akin to witchcraft and demonic payment. And what I do is none of the above. It is literally like listen to the Spirit, see if this person's broken. What does the Lord show me? What does the Lord tell me? And then give that understanding of truth for them to change their heart. And then the healing happens after as a result of them coming to that understanding of Christ. So I guess I don't know if I explained that well enough, but
no, I think you did, man. And I remember somebody, I think it was around 2015, came on my broadcast and he had these Chaldean texts which were basically texts that ward off evil spirits. So Chaldean magic. And he lined it up with the Latin and he was basically saying that it's almost word for word for some of these old Chaldean magic texts. And so that was crazy. But I do believe what you're saying is correct. Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because it totally is. It's witchcraft. It's straight witchcraft. But people don't know that. They don't understand because voodoo works. People don't know like voodoo really works. You could go to a witch doctor right now if you have a sickness, and they'll cut a chicken's throat, pour blood on you, and put an egg in your mouth and do ojo and all the Santeria stuff, and like you might get healed, bro. I know people that have been healed through Santeria witchcraft, like straight up. I know people that have been healed, and it's like, how can I argue the situation? Like if they've been completely healed from it, it's like obviously it worked to some degree. They just don't know what the payment was, like because they exchanged something for some demonic exchange. There was a demonic authoritative exchange going on. They just didn't know what that was. And eventually that demon showed up later for the rest of its payment, which was something akin to their life, but they didn't know that at the time. And so it seems like it works.
Yeah.
Witchcraft seems like it works for a lot of people.
It definitely does. Like you were
Mhm.
talking about in Tolbit and all that, there was
Mhm.
those scenarios pre-Jesus that people seem to use sage and all these different things.
Yeah.
Even like biblical people use these things to ward off
Mhm.
these demonic spirits. So yeah, I mean, we've been given a tool, man, and I agree with you. I've had an experience before where actually almost every conference that I end up speaking at, man, there's always somebody that manifests there. And I could think of one instance where I was walking, I was walking to get food and I heard some people screaming like really loud, and one, it was like, like screaming like a dinosaur. And I thought it was just I thought it was the kids playing on in the other, like it was like 50 yards away. And then
Mhm.
somebody comes running, they're like, "Hey, come here, come here." And so I go, and there's this girl, and she's literally face down in the ground, rubbing her face in the ground, rubbing her knees in the ground,
Whoa.
just like everything, and growling.
Oh
And like,
man,
and
fun.
everybody, there was people like
Mhm.
from a distance shouting, Jesus, come out, in the name of Jesus, come out. And like, I heard in my spirit, like, have compassion, like, perfect love casts out all fear. And so my fear went away. And so I went up and touched her head and I was like, do you want to be healed? And she was like, yes, it hurts, like growling and
Whoa.
screaming. And so it was just simple, like in the name of, I said, in the name of Yeshua, come out, name of Jesus, come out. And then boom, she got up, and like, it was crazy, but like, it's
Wow,
simple when
that's
it comes to
awesome,
that.
bro.
Yeah. So like
That's awesome.
that kind of stuff happened to me a lot. Cause like you, I had sleep paralysis and all that stuff going on as a kid. So I was really kind of in tune with that stuff and still am
Mhm.
to this day. So it's interesting, man, that kind of stuff. I'm really excited to see what you
Mhm.
come up with, man. We're going to have to get you at one of our conferences to come and speak on those things. I'm sure as soon
Oh,
as we have you, people will be there manifesting like crazy. So
yeah, I did that at a movie theater once and spoke, and the whole movie theater was like throwing up, bro. It was nuts. It was
wow.
crazy. They had me speak. Have you heard about the Come Out in Jesus Name movie? I think it was.
No,
There was like they played a movie, Isaiah Saldivar. Do you know who that guy is?
I don't, dude. I have no idea.
He's like a popular deliverance minister guy. He's pretty cool, but some of his friends are whatever. But they're all they're pretty interesting people, and they had a come out. I think Greg Locke was one of them. Unfortunately, not my favoriteest guy, but he's like part of that whole movement where people are realizing demons are real. They had a movie, and at the end of it, they asked me to pray, and so like all the people at the end came out and we prayed, and bro, the whole movie theater, I was like praying, and like dude, it was nuts. It was nuts.
Wow.
The whole movie, they were like throwing up. We came
Wow.
outside and we were on the grass, and like people were going by and like they were just like like throwing
Wow.
like
Wow.
manifesting, and people, it was so crazy. It was pretty funny though.
That is crazy, man. Yeah, it's interesting the way that works. And I think that you're right. Like, God will show you when, if you're walking in his authority, it's like they manifest because
Yeah,
I
you're
think
speaking
God
truth.
makes it. Yeah. Most people literally have no idea how powerful their words are and how detrimental they can be to them and what all this stuff means, man. I mean, all of our words seem so crafted. So I want to give you the floor to explain this a little bit. It's mind blowing to me.
Yeah. So I mean, the English language comes from English, which is from Angelish, which is from Anglo-Saxon, which is Anglo-Sexton, which is sect with angels, which is sex with angels. Okay.
Yeah.
Anglo-Saxon means angel sex. Like that's literally, it means Nephilim. Okay. People don't know that because they don't understand the etymological roots. If you just follow it back, you'll realize, oh, Secton means Saxon is secton means sect. It means sex. It
Hmm.
means to join with. It means to be a part of. And then Anglo is angel. Okay, it's angel. It's not angler. Okay, it's Anglo. It means angel. But the etymology roots, they'll tell you it means angler, which means fish. Oh yeah, fish. Part of fishing men. Part fisherman. That's what Anglo-Saxon they'll tell you means. No, it means angel sex. It means part angel. So anyways, side
Well, I mean,
note.
it's interesting, like just
Mhm.
to you when you say that too, like because I've heard that it means the sons of Isaac, but I also
Yeah.
know the history of that because they came and slaughtered a bunch of British people and like pretty much took control of like 80% of the people there. But the fish thing's interesting narrative too because when you look at like almost all civilizations, they claim that these people came out of the water and taught them how to read, taught them how to write, taught them how to mine, how to
Yeah, they
build
taught them.
civilizations. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they get well, the funny thing is they came out of water, but like, why would it like angler, like
Yeah.
angelo? Like what? No,
Yeah.
it's angel. It's
Yeah.
angelo. That's what angelo is. It's like literally etymologically they'll lie to you, but it's pretty simple when you know the roots and you just look at the sounds. Like angler, angelo, angelo, angelo. Oh, angelo. Angelo sounds a lot more like than angler. Angler and angelo, they don't sound the same. Okay. Like it's pretty similar. The obvious word is usually the right word, but then they try to distort your history and they just try to distort your narrative. And then people are like, oh, that's not the root word. That's not where it comes from. Go study etymology longer. Okay. Like when you start studying etymology, you can follow the roots. You can just like look at the words and go, this. Oh my gosh, that's what it means. Like that's where it comes from. That's the root. That's the understanding. Like for instance, like people right now, Gentile. People think the word Gentile means they think it means non-Jew. Okay, Gentile don't mean non-Jew.
If you suffer from chronic pain, you're going to love today's sponsor, Nano Extreme Pain Cream. Guys, I have carpal tunnel. Sometimes my back hurts. Sometimes my shoulder hurts. I do jujitsu and bowling and do a lot of stuff that I really love to do and things that I even have to do. And sometimes it causes major pain. Sometimes it's pain for days. I lose sleep. Well, when I use this, it actually works in seconds. This is specially designed to go through all 7 layers of your skin so that it can reach the root of the pain and put it into it, guys. It's pretty awesome. I wouldn't be promoting it if it didn't work. I've tried a lot of other pain creams. Nothing quite works like this. So, guys, check it out. There's a link in the description and a choice between 2 promo codes. One that gives you free shipping and the other gives you $8 off. So, whichever one's best for you, try it out and let me know what you think.
It's very simple. Gentile is from the Latin gentilis, which means giantile. It means descendant of giant. That's
Wow.
what Gentile means. Giantile. Okay. And if you look at the root word giantile, there's another word. Another word. Do you know what the Arabic word for demon is? It's called jinn. Jinn. Gentile.
Wow.
Giantile. Jinn. Genie. This is where we get these word jinn. It means demon. Okay. Gentile. Giantile. Jinn. Okay. And then guess what? Giant. And you know what the old English word for giant is? It's called the Ents. Like in Lord of the Rings, the tree Ents, the big tree people, they're called the Ents.
Wow.
Why is it called the Ents? It's called the giant. The giants. The Ents. Like all the word, it's literally gentile, giantile, giant, ent. Like it's a progressive word. And you just see that it's connected. And all of these words, jinn, giants, Nephilim, they're all the connected things. They're all the same thing, but people just don't understand that. And they think it means something else. Demons, they call them demons because they're descended of giants, which are the fallen angel hybrid Nephilim. This is what a Gentile or a giantile means. It means a non-human. Doesn't mean you're human. It means you are a descendant of giants. They all got canine teeth in their mouth. You see these things? Yeah, see that? Yeah, that means you're from the Canaanite tribe. It means you have Canaan blood in you from a canine, which is where we get the word Canaan, which means dog. That's why you got canine teeth in your mouth. That's why you process meat. Okay, because we're all animalized hybrids, technically. It's just so far down the line removed. But if you got canine teeth in your mouth, which pretty much is everybody, guess what? You are not fully pure. You're canonized. You are Nephilimized bloodline. That you are Gentile. You're giantile. You're descendant of giants. So is everybody till the fullness of the Gentile comes in. You know that verse in the Bible says that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that happened. That happened. We're all Gentile now. Everyone is. We have reached the fullness of the Gentile, but people don't know that we've reached that. They're still confused. They think it's going to come. They think revelation has to happen and all this stuff, which had already happened, a lot of it, but that's a whole nother subject. We'll save that for another interview.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's interesting, man. When you talk about the Ents too, the trees, it reminds me of that
mhm.
verse in Ezekiel about the Assyrian having being like this giant tree that covers everything, and when it fell, it, all this, I guess it like ruined the nations or whatever. And then you see in the Bible in Genesis, you have the trees and the knowledge of good and evil and all these different trees that are in there.
Mm.
So that's interesting.
Oh yeah, and the trees that they cut down. If you Here's the even more interesting part is if you read in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which most pastors don't. Okay, which I love this because pastors are like, yeah, the book of Genesis is not really talking about giants. Oh, but we love the Dead Sea Scrolls. That validated our Bible. That's the validating thing. Oh yeah, well, have you read the Dead Sea Scrolls? Ask your pastor. Ask your pastor if he read the Dead Sea Scrolls because I have. I've read the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it is not at all what people think it is. You know what they say in the Dead Sea Scrolls? It's literally, there's so much text in the Dead Sea Scrolls that talk about Nephilim. The whole thing is like Nephilimized. It's literally like a continuation of Enoch. Enoch, by the way, was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. There was like 42 fragments of it found. One of the second most largest fragments of the book of the text was the book of Enoch found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Surprise. You know, another
Yeah.
one they had? They had the Genesis Apocryphon. How biblically based is your people? Are they biblically based? Should I go biblical?
I would say most of them probably
Okay.
are.
All right, cool. So in the Genesis Apocryphon, very fascinating text. Look it up in the freaking Dead Sea Scrolls, and it will give you some insight that will definitely change your mind about some things. One of which talks about Noah actually being born white. He was white and glowing. Did you know this?
Yeah, yeah. It's in Enoch chapter like 69 or 70, somewhere in there. It's like added supposedly the Noah fragments that were added to there.
Yep. It's
Yep.
also in what's called the Genesis Apocryphon. And Lamech was like, what the heck? Tell me that you didn't sleep with a fallen angel, and was mad at his wife. I forget her name right now, but mad at his wife because he thought she slept with a fallen angel because Noah came out white and glowing.
Yeah, his
She
eyes
thought
were
he was a Nephilim.
supposedly glowing. His eyes were glowing like the they
Mm-hmm.
call it like the sons of God. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yep. And so that was like all in the Genesis Apocryphon. And then he gets to go to Enoch, and Enoch confirms that nope, actually your son, Lamech. He's just shiny. He's just a little bit shiny and he's white.
Yeah.
But that also gives you a conclusion that the white skin, that is a Nephilimized trait, like light colored skin. And red hair is a Nephilimized trait. And there's all the white people in the world. We're all basically Nephilimized Nordic descendant of Nephilim leftovers, technically. I mean, that's really where we are. Like people are like, where'd the Nephilim go? You are the Nephilim. Surprise.
All
You're the
bred
Nephilim.
in. They all bred
They
in
all,
together.
yep.
Yeah.
We've all just been diluted down to the point where that's why Jesus said, preach this gospel to every creature. Every creature. Okay. You ain't going to go preaching this gospel to your doggy now, are you? No. That's because there was other things that weren't your dog that were intelligible that existed. Okay. There was every creature. And now they've all but basically transmuted into our society. We all have Nephilimized traits, but we're all basically mostly human at this point. And they're trying to resurrect the Nephilim lineage. Who knows if they can do it or what they're doing with 23andMe and all that stuff. But basically, they've been trying to re-Nephilimize our lineage, which is where you get AIDS from. HIV and AIDS, that comes from, guess what? Monkey cells. Mm-hmm. And you wonder, why were they putting monkey cells in the humans? Why'd they want to put the monkey cell into the human? Because the monkey cell is de-evolved Nephilim lineage. The monkey cell is. So this is a whole nother. We're going in the genetic direction today. We were going to talk about spelling, but
Well, let's go the genetic direction, man. That's interesting to me too. I think that it all kind of ties in because ultimately the words tell us exactly what's going on, and words are definitely powerful. The Bible says that the tongue speaks life and death, and basically,
mm-hmm.
if you can control your tongue, then you can control everything. Then you could be perfect, basically, if you can control your tongue. And I try to think about that a lot when I'm talking, but like it's hard, man. And I think part of that is that deep seated, seed of whatever is going on inside of us.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely like it stems to like pride, it stems to like, your own doubt, speaking, wanting to know more than you know, or whatever. I think it all stems from pride personally. My thought. I mean, even shyness is prideful. People think, oh no, I'm shy, I can't be prideful. Yeah, right, dude, you're the most prideful ever. You're shy. Why? Because you don't want people to look at you and make a judgment of you because you care about what other people think of you. So like shyness is pride. Like it's all pride. Like pride, it's dude. The reason why everybody does anything they do, it stems from pride. So, I think it all, and God resists you if you're prideful. So it's like God is resisting the prideful all the time. And so you're being resisted. And people,
Yeah.
like, I had to teach people about pride, like, quite often. Pride and unforgiveness is like the biggest thing um that people in the church struggle with, I think, the most.
Yeah, it seems
The
that way.
wild.
And it seems like in general, like just not even in the church, but everybody in the world, like you said, really struggles with that. And it's something that you sometimes it's hard to even notice. Like I know that like in myself, I struggle with pride a lot and I tried my best to not be selfish and everything like that. But it's something that's always kind of deep seated and something that I have to constantly be battling against. I know that even though like, as far as people go, there's people way, way better than me, way more awesome than I am in every single way, but like there's still that element of pride, and even like you said, even the shyness, man, even the shyness is a form of pride, and I think that that's almost the worst one because not only do you have the pride, but you're not able to like really fulfill what God may have for you in your life.
Well, God says that cowards go to hell along. They're lumped in with the rest of the fornicators and all the wicked people in the world. So cowards go to hell right in there with the rest of them. And you got to wonder, why does God send the cowards to hell? Well, because if you're a coward, it's because you're prideful. That's why.
Yeah.
Because you're a coward. You don't want to speak up because you're afraid that everyone's going to judge you and look at you funny. You know how many people look at me funny? You know how many of my friends I lost? You know how many people I've lost talking about the truth? Casting ever since I started casting out demons, I lost like 99% of my whole friend group almost.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like my whole friend group just like, but that's okay. God replaced it with new friends.
Yeah.
Like so many of my friends were like, bro, I can't talk to this guy anymore. Like he's crazy. Like they think I'm crazy. So some of them have come back now afterwards. They're like, bro, I thought you were crazy, but now I think you're right. Like it's like, I'm like, hey, cool, great. The Lord's brought you in. Like,
Especially like in 2025, man, like it's like people are manifesting like crazy. Things are going
Mhm.
on like this big manifestation of this what is it, three eye atlas that's going on. People are saying that they're being activated, and there's so much weird stuff going on genetically. How do you think that plays a part in this activation? Because some people, I believe, not only are programmed, but they're also being activated. Maybe it has a lot to do with genetics. What do you think?
you know, this is, I'm skeptical. Okay. I'm very skeptical about a lot of things, and the things and it's surprisingly for somebody that talks about Nephilim being gorillas. Like I'm surprisingly very skeptical of a lot of stuff. I know that a lot of it comes down to demons and a lot of it is psychological in people's heads and a lot of it is demonic. I don't think there is, I think our genetics, I mean, is such a mud pool now at this point. Like, there is no pure genetic of anything, and there is no activating of anything unless it's demons activating you. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I think it's demonic, all of it. I think everything's demonic.
What do you
Like,
think about
it's
these people
demons.
coming out
Mhm.
now that are getting real, like a lot of views, I guess, and saying that they're basically an elite bloodline and all of this stuff?
Demons.
They're more supercharged through the demons.
Demons. They're just demons. They're demon possessed, and that's it. Like, and like my opinion, I see those people, and I'm just like, yep, that's demons. Like I talk to demons. I've talked to so many demons, bro. Literally casting out demons. I've had conversations with Anubis. I've met Beelzebub. I've met Azazel. I met so many demons at this point. I've talked to all of them. Like I don't, I know the demon game pretty well
You
at this
you
point.
can tell, you can feel it when you hear them talk.
Oh, I hear them talking and I can recognize when I see a person talking and I'm like, oh, this isn't even them. Like I'm like, oh, it's demon. It's demon. I get it now. I'm like, so I just see it so plainly at this point that I'm like, okay, demons, like demons, that's it. Like because what it happens is like when you understand how demons work, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this makes so much more sense than everything else that I've ever believed or thought. It throws some of the theories you have out the window because it's like not as fun as you thought it was in some regard. But then you realize, oh, but there's no other way. It's got to be demons. Like demons is literally like the epitome of the deepest conspiracy whole connection. I think it's like it all points the demons are control like all the elite, like they're not in control. Like the elite are not in control, and they show so many signs that they do things that are just like off a little bit, and you're like, there something's not right, and you're like, why is it not right? That's because they're not in control. They're not the ones in control. Like Donald Trump and Elon Musk are puppets. They're pathetic. They're ants on the top of an anthill. And we're a bunch of little ants that are like, ooh, look at the big ant on top of the anthill. He must be an elite. No, he's still an ant. He is an ant on an anthill. Okay. Like we've lifted this ant up, and now he's like real big on top of that anthill. Same with Elon Musk, right? Okay. He's a big fancy ant. Okay. Trump is a big fancy orange ant. All right. That's it. He's just an ant on an anthill. And like we think that they're the elite. No, the elite are behind the scenes. You don't know who they are. You have no clue who they are. Their names are hidden. They're like these hidden grasshoppers that are feeding the little orange ant and saying, "Yes, little orange ant, you're one of us. You're just a part of us. You're as special as we are." And they're buying into it unwittingly, unknowingly, fulfilling the goal of whatever the freaking grasshoppers are wanting to do. The real evil people that are behind the scenes that you don't even know their names. You have no clue who these people are. They're not going to be telling you who they are. They don't want you to know who they are. Like if you knew who they were, like if they would, it would throw off their ability to control the game. You know what I mean? Like it's not, they don't want you to know who they are, because if you knew who they are, then you'd see their dealings. You'd figure them out. So, they're controlling the little people like Elon Musk and, Bill Gates and all these other little ants that are on top of the anthill. And those people are working with demons. Those people are like, Les Wexner. There's one of them. He gave Jeffrey Epstein his house. That man has admitted that he has a devak. Devak, that's the Jewish word for demon. Okay. And he talks to his devak. The man, Les Wexner, who gave Jeffrey Epstein his house, talks to his devak, who gives him special deals on how to buy, what stocks to buy, what things to do, what blah, blah, blah. Like he gives him understanding. And you're like, oh, that's really weird.
And he
So yeah,
claims this.
yes, in a video, in an interview, he talks about it. And
Wow.
you're like, oh, okay, well, that means he's talking to demons. Yeah. All the people at the very top, above the Trumps, above the Elons, okay, those people straight up talk with demons. They work with demons. You would quantify them as schizophrenic if you met them. Like if you actually knew them, because they talk with entities that are beyond what people are realizing. And these people, but they're successful. So we're not going to say that they're schizophrenic and they need to be in a hospital, because they're multi-billionaires. So what are you going to do? You can tell some billionaire who's obviously making money doing it, who's hearing voices, you ain't going to put him in a hospital. He's like, got all the money and he's totally fine, sane seemingly. But, at the same time, he's just bidding to the will of this invisible entity that talks to him. Half of them don't even know why they're doing it. Like half of them have no clue exactly why or what they are doing. They don't even know. They don't even know. The people are all ants. If you see a human being, he's an ant. Even the high ants, the ones that are the secret running the show ants, they don't even know. They don't even know they're being controlled by demons. And those demons are being controlled by the agenda that is controlled by Satan. So every person that you've ever interacted with is not evil necessarily, as they are more deceived and ignorant and blind. And if they knew what they were doing, if they knew what was going on, and when they die and find themselves before God in judgment, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I was doing this the whole time. And the realization will hit them. And then that's why they'll find themselves, in a situation of hell and be like, I guess I deserve this, because they'll realize that what they did and all the poison and all the toxicity they put into the world and all the evil that they caused, the hurt and the harm that they caused the people of the world, is justifiable by their circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll be like, yeah, I deserve this. It won't be like, oh, this is unfair. It'll be like, yeah, I did a lot of wickedness and evil. This caused a lot of hurt in the world.
One thing you hit on earlier that I really want to just hear what you have to say about, you were talking about monkeys and their genetics. And I'm really curious about that, because I know that you've talked before about what gorillas are and what's your theory on what they are, and I'm really interested, and I know the audience would be really interested in hearing your thoughts on that. So,
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a, that there is so much to this subject. If we were to go this rabbit hole, like, dude, I mean, basically, humans have 22 chromosomes or 23, sorry, 23. And if you have Down syndrome, you have 24. Okay. That's why it's 23 and me, right? Well,
yeah.
guess how many chromosomes gorillas have by default? They don't have 24, they have 25.
Mm.
So just one extra more. They're double. So if you have 24, you got Down syndrome. If you have 25, I don't know. You're basically in the same category of a gorilla
Has
at that
anybody ever
point.
been born human-wise with 25 chromosomes?
I'm sure there is situations where that's happened. I'm sure there's situations, and if that happens, they probably had some major defects in their body. Let's just put it that way.
So
They
what does that
probably,
mean? What does that mean to be have 25 chromosomes and be a gorilla or whatever? How does that play into the whole genetics of the Nephilim?
yeah. So what happened is basically gorillas were only discovered like 200 years ago. We didn't know they existed. They were known as a race of angry men. Okay, before that. Okay, a race of angry men that existed in the forest. All right, and nobody wanted to go in there. Okay, and before that, there was this thing called wild men. Okay, and these were intelligible individuals. You can look up the stories of the wild men. Okay, and there were these hairy green, some of them, dark colored, like brown haired or whatever. You know, uh, Animals. That is what they were. They were like these animal giants. They were super strong, haired all over individuals. Okay. They were they were the Nephilim. They were the leftover remnants of the Nephilim. And so the Nephilim disappeared for the most part when Jesus showed up. So it was not a silent night. All right. When Jesus showed up, they're like, silent night. When it showed up, all of the leftover Nephilim went and committed. It's actually
Wow.
written about in multiple stories. Okay.
Wow.
You can type in Gentile, Gentil, not the E. Don't add the E. Spell it exactly how I spelled it, Gentil. Otherwise, it won't come up. And then you can type in Basque if it's still not coming up. Basque mythology. You can read the stories about the Gentile who gave humanity the saw and the first to grow wheat and taught men to work with metal. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like Nephilim. Yeah. And so these Nephilim interbred with humanity, and these offspring, giant hairy animal hybrid things mixed in with the French and Spanish people. And in fact, before they were called that, that's actually where their name comes from. Do you know the goat god Pan?
Hmm.
Okay, so they're called Pan-ish, Panish, Spanish. Ish means like Pan. Spanish means people like Pan. Or Hispanic, it means ick means people. Hispanic means the people of Pan.
Wow.
Spanish means people like Pan. So like these words, they're when you study etymological connections and the history of the stories, you'll start to see the pattern of what actually happened. But basically, the Nephilim, like these half angel human hybrids mixed with animals and created these giant hairy beings. And these hairy beings, when Jesus showed up, were terrified and petrified of the authority of Christ because they knew the prophecy. They knew that he would crush their head and they would bruise his heel. So when they saw the Star of Bethlehem, this is recorded in the stories of the Gentile. I'm basically read the Gentile's description. I don't know if I can share screen. Should I share screen? I feel like I should,
Yeah, I
but I
think
don't
you
know.
can. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it?
I'm not pro on Zoom, but I think you can share the screen. I think I have to give you control
Let
to
me
do
see if I mean, because just saying this, it might sound crazy without showing you guys this.
that. Yeah, I think
Let
it'd
me
be cool
see
to see.
here.
I was going to end up pulling it up later on anyway and trying to throw it up there.
All right, here we go. So, ready? Gentil. All right. The Gentil or the Gentiloch with a blast plural are a race of giants in Basque mythology. The word meaning Gentile from the Latin gentilis was used to a pre-Christian civilization In particular, the builder of the megalithic monuments. So they're the people that built all the megalithic monuments all over the place. Okay. It says the Gentile were believed to live alongside the Basque people. They were hairy and so tall they could walk in the sea and throw rocks from one mountain to another. The stone throwing has led to several tales and explanations of ancient stone builders of the large isolated rocks, like the dolmen. See those things? Which, by
Yeah.
the way, that's a giant table. Just so you know, that's where they crush your bones to make their bread. Anyways, even the Basque game Poletta is ascribed to these stone throwers. The power games lived on. Some attributed the Gentile to the defeat of the Roland in the Battle of Roncesvalles, where the Basque defeated the Frankish army by throwing rocks on them. The giants were believed to have created the Neolithic monuments, such as the dolmen, found around the Basque country, which these are found all over the world, by the way. They were said to have invented metallurgy and the saw and the first to grow wheat, teaching humans to farm, where they were unwilling to move into the valleys from the mountains with a certain unwillingness to progress. They disappeared into the earth under the dolmen in the Aratazaran Valley in whatever. Okay. When the potentious luminous cloud, perhaps a star, appeared, said to have heralded the birth of Christ and the end of the Gentile age. All the other stories of the Gentile threw themselves from mountains. Only Olenta Zero remain, a giant who appears at Christmas and is reproduced in straw dolls. Olenta Zero. Olenta means old. Zero means nothingness or zero. Olenta Zero means old nothingness. Or do you want to know another name for that? Old Nick.
Whoa.
Old Nick, which, by the way, is another name for the devil. Yes, Old Nick. You ever heard the movie Little Nicky? Okay. This is what Old Nick is. Old nothingness. Okay. It's the devil. Old Nick is a slang term for the devil. First season. Yeah. Olenta Zero. Old Nick. Okay.
Wow.
That's what Olenta Zero is. It's the devil who is a Nephilim at Christmas who would come around and actually beg the Christians not to murder him. And he would give gifts. And he was a giant, but he was also hairy. And you know another thing that he looked like? He was also, his name became Cinder Klaus, which is another name for him, which is where we get Santa Claus, which Claus is actually, another word for Claus is cramp. Okay. So who does that make you think of?
Krampus.
There you go. Krampus is actually one of the original Nephilim, one of the first Nephilim who hid and was not killed by the star. Because what happened was, if you read when I read the Gentile, they disappeared in the earth, the dolmen, and as to when a potentious luminous cloud, perhaps a star, said of the birth of Christ. Other stories said the Gentile threw themselves from mountains. Only Olentezero remained. Okay. And he was like afraid. So he shows up every Christmas bringing gifts saying, please, Christians, don't kill me. Don't smash my head in. That's what he came for. And then the parents are like, well, we'll feed you to that demon Nephilim when he comes. We'll throw your children. We'll give you the children to him when he comes if you're not good. And this is actually where you get the original tales from. This is Olentezero, or cramp means it means claw. Cramp means claw or to twist or to contort also, which is like a cramp in your stomach. Okay. That's where the term comes from. So Krampus means to twist and pervert. It also means claw. And this is where claws, Santa Claus or Cinderklaus all comes from, literally from this, from Old Nick, from Old Olentezero, from the Nephilim. This is the stories. This is the real story of Christmas, by the way, just so you guys know. This is the actual true story of Christmas. They don't teach you this one in church, kids. But this is actually...
I've studied a lot, and I've never seen that, and that's very interesting to me because that thing looks like Pan as well. And you talked about Pan earlier.
Yep.
Or Peter Pan taking the children off the Neverland type thing.
Oh, yep. That's exactly what this is. All of it's connected to Pan. And so when you understand this all, you're like, oh, shoot, this makes a whole lot more sense. You're like, I didn't even know this. Like, I didn't even know this existed like this. So, yeah, all of this is connected. This is what the Gentile are. This is what they became, Olentezero. And they basically, the real Nephilim just fell off the earth. These people, the very few Nephilim that stayed, they were terrified and they went into the valleys, into the fields and hid away from humans because they were afraid of the authority of Christ that we carried. Okay.
Is that what the Bigfoot and the Sasquatch are, man? I mean,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Bigfoot and Sasquatch. They're these guys. Look, boom. They're Nephilim that are hiding, and they're hiding because they're afraid of this, the intel that said they threw themselves from mountains. They're afraid of the prophecy that says Jesus will crush your head and you will bruise his heel. That's what they're afraid of. That's why the Bigfoots and all those things hide from you, because they are afraid. They are terrified and petrified of the authority that we carry in Christ. Ever since Christ showed up, these guys disappeared. The world changed when they showed up. Okay, there was leftovers of them left, and like things like this, they're called them wild men. And so if you look at wild men, old drawings, this is the wild men, and this is them. Okay, still sort of coming back from society, hiding from society. Look at this. What's that look like? That doesn't look like a man. Doesn't that look kind of like a monkey? Doesn't it? Isn't that funny?
Wow.
1795. And you're like, huh, okay. So what happened was these things, these guys, these hairy beings that were giant and didn't have hair on their nipples for some reason. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, this is where you get the Jolly Green Giant from, by the way. And notice that
dude,
here,
that character, the green god there, the green giant, was on the king's the new King Charles. It was on his because I remember doing a broadcast about it. It was actually that depiction was on the bottom of his I don't even know what it's called, his inauguration pamphlet or whatever. I don't even remember now what it was, but it was literally right there on the bottom.
Look at that. The green giant. There he is.
Wow.
And so like this is the wild men, but these were the leftover Nephilim that were just basically hiding in the mountains away from the humans. And then they kept inbreeding and they kept inbreeding and they kept inbreeding and they kept inbreeding. And then all of a sudden they started to get Down syndrome. And then when they got the Down syndrome, it started to de-evolve even further into a more animalistic state. And when they became more animalistic, they became gorillas. And so the gorillas are basically Nephilim with Down syndrome that have lost their cognitive functions and restored, and God, for whatever reason, allowed them to continue existing. And they've gone back to the state of being human. In fact, there's stories like the Tolkanosh. Have you heard of the Tolkanosh?
No.
Tolkanosh, Africa, orangutan. So this is the Tolkanosh, the which is not Tolkien. Okay, Tolkanosh, Africa, blah blah blah, such an animal. The Tolkanoshi, I guess, demon. The Takanoshi demon. I can't spell this thing, bro. It's too weird to spell some of these words. Okay. So anyways, the demon, the Tokanosh, is the I can't figure out how to spell it. But anyways, it's an orangutan. Okay. So like the in Africa, they believe that the orangutan is a demon that kidnaps children, and they're terrified of it. In fact, this is really weird when you look at their face, bro. Like just look at the eyes of this thing. It's like you can feel its soul.
Yeah.
Like it's very uncanny and unusual. But do you think God created these things? Like God didn't, like, look at this distortion. You think this is a creation of God? Like, dude, this is genetic hybridization mixing going on here. This is not God's default creation. They got like weird, like a lot of disease and weird funk things that happen on them. That's just like not like normal, or these weird overgrowths of skin and stuff. And they're just like these walking pools of pain and like gross. And it's like, this is not how God, I think, made these creatures to be, honestly. And so like when you look at them though, they look back at you, dude. It's so unsettling to see them, like to see their eye. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
It's unsettling when you see them looking at you, dude. Like it is very unsettling. It's not like other animals, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. They're so smart too, and it's I mean, like smart in comparison to other animals, obviously, but it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. There's more text. So in the book of Yasher, it says God turned the people that tried to build the Tower of Babel. It says he turned them like elephants and like monkeys. Did you know that?
I I don't remember reading that actually, but I
Yeah.
believe it. I believe it. I remember reading a lot of weird stuff in Jasher, but I haven't read it in probably 6 months. So
Elephants
it
and
was
monkeys.
must
So
have
the
been something I
interesting
just
part,
kind of brissed over. Yeah.
yeah, so it says humans turned into apes and elephants in the Tower of Babel. It says in the book of Yasher, when the ones that were trying to build the Tower of Babel, God turned them into like apes and elephants and monkeys, which is again hairy elephants that we don't have anymore called woolly mammoths, right?
Hmm.
And you're like, oh, that's super interesting. There's another thing in the book of Yasher, and you see this guy Ganesh, which is another connection to that. And here's Jesus surrounded by dog-headed people. Very fascinating when you start looking at those things. Which is like that. This is a very different world that we live in. See, everybody thinks that, oh, you're Gentile just because you look different. No, this is what a Gentile originally looked like. Okay. Human, not so human. Like it was easy to identify a Gentile back then. Now we all pretty much are human. So it's like makes no difference. But the monkeys, God turned them in the book of Jasher. There's also another text in the book of Jasher that talks about literally the I don't know. It talks about here. I'll stop sharing. It talks about in Jasher. It says that there was children that came out of a world. These people, these beings came out of whirlwind. It says from the middle up, they're like children of men, and from the middle down, they're like, or from the middle down, they're like children of men, and from the middle up, they're like bears or kephas, which is bears, and kephas. The closest thing is koph, which is monkey, and you're like, they're like bears and monkeys. So let me ask you a question. What do you get when you mix a human, a bear, and a monkey? Like, do you think it would turn out to be something like a gorilla? Because that sounds human, bear, monkey definitely seems like a gorilla to me. Like, just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, so they're big and strong like a bear, human like, and definitely monkey like. Yeah. I mean, it seems possible.
so yeah, gorillas. I mean, it says literally they came out of a whirlwind and they were like bears. They were like middle down, like children of men. And then from the middle up, they're like bears or kephas, bears and monkeys.
Well,
So these creatures in Yasher twice they allude to the fact that humans had a connection to gorillas. And again, this is gorillas only existed right 200 years ago. We didn't know what they were. They were a race of angry men before then. And so you're like, huh, that's weird that they don't talk a whole lot about them. But except for the only times they do talk about them, they're referring to them as being genetic hybrid mixing, or they're referring to them as being a punishment for the children that try to build the Tower of Babel. God turned them into elephants and monkeys. And you're like, huh. So the elephant monkey thing is literally like, I think, a sort of default Nephilim trait existence thing. And when you look at monkey, like I think monkeys were created by God, but I think the apes were not. I think all the apes are hybrids of some kind. They're all basically de-evolved, Nephilimized mixed creatures that have lost, maybe they don't even have a connection to their soul anymore. They're just like they've reverted to animal state is what I think they maybe have gone to. I think it's like maybe like Down syndrome affected them to some degree, where it's like even further created their lost their cognitive functions as animals, and they're like a animal species that's been de-evolved in a sense. Does that make sense?
yeah, it reminds me, of course, Planet of the Apes is like a reverse story of that, but
Yes.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Planet of the Apes is part of the agenda, but it's very interesting because it's almost like saying like, oh, us Nephilim, what if we take over? The Nephilim take over. That's literally what the Planet of the Apes movie is. It's literally like a Nephilim takeover movie. And
man.
it's like, but people don't see it like that. They just see it as monkeys. It's like, no, no, no. Those are Nephilim. Those are Nephilim. They're an intelligent, talking, hairy people. Those are Chewbacca's. Those are the Wookiees. Okay, yeah, that's all Nephilim homage. Okay, all of that's Nephilim. Like, but people just don't know their history books, so they think like Chewbacca isn't a Nephilim. Chewbacca is a freaking Nephilim. Like, it's pretty obvious when you know the stories of the wild men and you know these origins of what they were doing, and they were good with technology. What does Chewbacca do? He works on the ship. Oh, he's good with technology. Isn't that fascinating? Oh yeah, Chewbacca's a Nephilim. And you realize like, oh, he's not a Bigfoot, he's a Nephilim. Like, well, the Bigfoot are Nephilim. They're just like more elusive because they're in hiding. But because they're afraid of the whatever consequences of humanity's authority of Christ. So yeah, that's I guess the Nephilim genetics thing. Did I explain that well enough? I don't know.
I think you did, man, and I definitely would like to revisit it with you sometime and just talk about a little bit more about it. But dude, I think that was awesome. You told me a lot of stuff that I'd never heard, and I've researched a lot of stuff. And man, that's especially with the I'll have to go back and the word again, how you spell it, the Gentile word with the hairy
Oh
man.
yeah.
Like that's a rabbit hole to go down right there. That's pretty cool.
Bro, when you go down that, like, I mean, like, the Lord showed me this stuff and said, tell people now. So, like, I just like pray about it and ask so many questions, and God started just showing me things, dude. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, when you understand that connection, you're like, bro, that's what this all is. We are living after so much has happened. Like, we're post revelation and a lot of this stuff, but that's a whole other thing we'll talk about some other time, I'm sure. But like, yeah,
Absolutely.
dude,
Yeah.
when you dig into it, you're just like, it's shocking. It's really shocking, but it makes so much sense. You're like, oh my gosh. Like, dude, like the gorillas and the monkeys, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait, let me show you one more thing. Ollie Anter. Okay. Now check this guy out. Oh, yeah, they want to show me that. Okay, Ollie Anter. That's his name, bro. He has symmetrical horns growing out of his face.
Whoa.
Okay. He died at 140 when they went to cut off his horn. The doctor went to cut off the other horn, and he died at
Wow.
140. Bro has symmetrical horns. Okay. It was like
Wow.
two of them. Like, look at this. Like, dude had another horn, like, and they cut it off, growing out of his face.
That's wild.
Bro, this is like two horns, bro. That ain't normal. Like, this
No.
is, but what is that? You got to ask yourself, well, what is that? Well, that's leftover genetics. His name is Unter. What do you think that sounds like? Sounds like Unts, doesn't it? Like the
Yeah.
tree Unts. So the Unts, Lord of the Rings. Look at this. Oh, this is Unts. Where does the name come from? Oh, the Ents comes from the Old English word ent, meaning giant. Do you see?
Yeah.
Giant. This is where the word comes from. So Unter, this guy's name, Unter is actually where we get the word antler also, which is also indicative of the Unts, the giants. He is a
Wow.
descendant of a gianter or a giantler. And then if you notice, like Zeus with horns. Oh, the giants have horns. Isn't that fascinating? All the giants happen to have horns. Okay. Oh, wow. That's Moses with horns. Not really Moses, but, oh, look at this. All these depictions of these giant sculptures where these giant beings all had horns. Isn't that fascinating?
That is
Yeah.
fascinating.
They're the giants. It's also antler, the antlers. Okay. This is where this comes from. And so if you understand etymological connections, you'll be like, oh, of course his name is Unter. He's a descendant of the Unts. He's a descendant of a giant, which they all had horns. A lot of them had horns growing on their face. This is why it's called ginger. Okay. Here's this. Cutaneous horns. Cutaneous horns. Look at this. These
Whoa.
horns grow out a lot of times out of people's ears. Isn't that fascinating? Kind of like elves. Oh, yeah. The elves were the Elohim descendants. And you know what else they had? They had horns growing out of their face, all over their face, because they were a descendant of the elves, the Elohims. Okay. And this is the thing they had horns in their ears. For some reason, they grow out of their ears all the time.
Whoa.
And it's like, or their knuckles or their points. Like, this is what this is. But you know what else that looks like, right? It looks like ginger root,
Yeah.
which ginger also means horn. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, jin means horn, ginger, because it looked like horns that people grew that were the jinn people, the demon people. They had horns growing off their face.
Is that why they call redheaded people gingers?
Yes, it's because they didn't have a soul if you have red hair too, right?
Gingers have souls.
Yeah, but that's because of the association with jinn. The demons. That's why they're called gingers, because the
Wow.
jinn are the people, the descendants of the jinn, which the redhead giants. That's where it's all comes from. But people don't even recognize this stuff anymore because they don't know etymological connections. Like this one, Chinese woman with horns. Seen this one? Bro, again, a
Wow.
symmetrical horn forming right here. Didn't come in quite in yet, but yeah, you
Wow.
can look her up. Where she is eating chicken or something. I don't know.
Wow, man, that's crazy. It's rare that I can say
Mhm.
that I've had a guest that like blows my mind while we're doing this, but I can say that like most of this stuff I've never put together, man, and that's rare for me to say that because I've interviewed so many people and I've been doing this for a long time. Very interesting.
Bro, it's all the Lord. It ain't me. I just do what God tells me, dude.
Well,
But like I ask questions, he teaches me stuff, and he just shows me things. He's like, look this up. Like, bro, seriously,
that's cool.
he's like told me things that I don't even know. And he's like, look this up. And I'm like, okay. And I look up the word and I'm like, oh my gosh, what? Like, I'm like, how did I find that? Like, it's crazy. But like, look at this. There's another one. Check this out. This one's old drawings of werewolf syndrome. This is hypertrichosis is what it's called. But if you type this in, look at this. What are these
Whoa,
people? These are the old
whoa.
drawings of the people that notice how the hair only grows on their face, but this guy had it on his whole body here, and there's a little child thing. I don't know what that thing
They
is.
look royal too, like they're,
Yeah.
wealthy.
Well, they were a lot of them were royalty. And so
Wow.
like this is what these people looked like. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that one.
Do you remember
But
that
this is
princess that was considered to be the most
yeah.
desirable woman in the world? She was hairy as well and
Yep.
kind of looked like one of those people.
Look at that. And
Wow.
it grows like mostly on the face and then on the body sometimes in some instances. But
Beauty and the
these are
Beast.
depictions. Yep. Yep. Gives a whole nother meaning to it, don't it?
Oh yeah.
And
Wow.
you're like, what is this? What is this stuff we've just erased from history? And like people don't even know what this is. They like look at it and they're like, oh yeah, it's random weird stuff. No, it's not, fool. This is your history. Dude, this is seriously like stuff we have forgotten about because we don't understand this history, because we don't know where this came from. Like, look at this. What is this? A drawing? Old photo? Wow, it's crazy. Look, he's got like some kind of crazy genetic thing going on and some weird diaper thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Um, dude, it's so crazy. But people have forgotten about this. Like, what is this? I've never seen this one either. What has he got? Some weird hair pattern growth? Oh my gosh. Look at that. Some other weird hair pattern growth.
It's
So yeah,
wild.
this is what this all stems from. And so like, people, but just people don't know this history. They don't know, and this is what the freak shows are about. And this is why the Ringling brothers and all that stuff was going on. It's all connected to this, like the circus acts, because the circus was controlling the demons. This is what the bearded woman was about. Okay. It was like controlling of the Nephilim, which if you look into the circus, it was completely like occultic and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like the three ring circus, that symbol
Yeah.
comes from the Oddfellows. The what's his name that started it was an Oddfellow.
Yeah. They're
And
all, they're all Masons.
yeah, that's wild, man. That's giving me this is gonna give me a rabbit hole to go down, and I can't wait to look down it. I'm really, really excited about this, and I can't wait to have you back on. Tell people where they can find your stuff if you have any materials or anything like that. I know I'm gonna tag your YouTube channel on here, but what else? What other websites should people know about?
Yeah, my YouTube, I explain this stuff. I break it down quite often in like full details and stuff. Like, so just go to my YouTube. It's Demon Erasers on YouTube. And my TikTok, I explain more about like I guess like witchcraft and like magic and stuff. And then my TikTok, that's all I can talk about on there because everything else gets removed. And then my Instagram, I talk about all kinds of other crazy stuff. YouTube is probably the best place, but it's all Demon Erasers on everything. And X, and I've got a Rumble page, but I haven't posted anything. I got to post stuff on there. But yeah,
Yeah.
and it's all Nephilimized stuff all over the place. Just get on my channels. I got different content on all the platforms, but it's all Demon Erasers, just like that. Boom, Demon Erasers.
Very cool, man. I appreciate you coming on, dude. And look, I know that a lot of this stuff to some people is very shocking and crazy, but I
Mm-hmm.
probably, if you're listening to my channel, it's probably not that crazy to you guys. But man, this is awesome stuff. They'll go down a rabbit hole and look because I do believe that a lot of this is plain history of who we are. So pretty awesome,
Mm-hmm.
man. I appreciate that.
Dude, thanks for having me on, bro. Let me know when you want me back on. I'll talk about some more crazy stuff. We
Sounds
didn't even,
awesome.
we didn't even get to the magic stuff yet, really, but
No,
we'll do that next time, maybe.
yeah, it'll be the next part 2 there. Yeah. So appreciate it, guys. Pound the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.
The world keeps lying, but he won't retreat on his quest for truth. Yeah. Truth, quest for truth. They can't stop me, they can't block me. Moving through, got that fire, they can't block me. Quest for truth, breaking chains, making waves.